Counting down the final days of the month of August. Welcome everyone to today, Tuesday the 28th. I am Bosun Omofaye. Let's get to the show started live from Channels Television, Nigeria's news leader. So what is Nigeria's problem, really? Or what is wrong with Nigeria? The Vice President seems to have an answer. And he spoke to Nigerians in diaspora at Minneapolis. That's the capital of Minnesota in the United States about 2 days ago. And he says that Nigeria's problem is not a matter of geographical restructuring. So what is the problem with the country? He says it is about managing resources properly and providing for the people. That is what it is all about. And that's what the Vice President told his audience in a press statement released yesterday from his media and publicity office. So the Vice President was ratcheting up support, as it is expected, for the administration, with Nigerians in diaspora asking him questions about the state of the economy, what the government is doing with industrialization, the ports, the roads, infrastructure, and corruption, of course. And the Vice President went on to say in the statement that, quote, my view is that we must create the environment that allows for people to realize themselves economically, because that truly is what the challenge is with our country. So simply put, the Vice President says is for people to realize their potentials economically, and that is what is being done. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, says the Buhari's administration has put in place, quote, an economic structure that is able to function properly despite previous challenges, particularly corruption. So, how do we deal with corruption? And the Vice President was going to continue to say that unless we're able to deal with the fundamental questions, especially around corruption, our economic circumstance will keep going one step forward, 2 steps backwards. The Vice President also says a few more things about the state of the ports, the roads, infrastructure, and other things. You can read that up online if you're interested. So so we got an idea of what the problem is with Nigeria. The Vice President says it's not about geographical restructuring, but about the state of the economy. One of the projects being undertaken by the Buhari's administration is the Lagos-Ibadan rail project. The Honorable Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amici, says he's not satisfied with the pace of work on the new rail line due, according to the contractors, the steady rainfall that we've seen in the last couple of months. Of course, we're in rainy season here in Nigeria's southwest. Honorable Minister Amici says the contractor, the Chinese contractor, says the promise to fast-track the construction because the rainy season is subsiding, and be online to complete the project before December. That December 2018 is the deadline set for the completion and the unveiling of the Lagos-Ibadan railway. So that's it. So the minister says he's not impressed because it's just about 12 kilometers of rail tracks that have already been laid by the contractors. So he says, "Coach, we are still not impressed with the level of work," and that is it. Laid it yesterday when he went to look at the piece of work there. If you're online, you've seen some of the pictures of what has been done. 12 kilometers of rail line done already. Part of it is yet to be completed, and the Minister of Transportation says he's not happy yet. But blame it on the rain, and then the rain will soon be over. Then let's see whether December is still a deadline. Okay, so what's in the news this morning again? We have Nigeria will have a new university. The federal cabinet has approved 2 billion naira to set up a new Nigerian Army University, and that will be located in Borno State, the epicenter of the Boko Haram insurgency. That's according to media reports. The university, which will belong to the Nigerian Army, is looking to meet the needs of the Nigerian military and develop science and technology base required in the country's national defense. That's it. So let's get on with the rest of the business and the markets. Yesterday, the total transactions on the stock exchange fell about 60%. That's a massive downside, with less than 200 million units of shares to start off the final trading week in the month of August. Let's cross over to our studios at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, where my colleague, Channels TV business correspondent Temple Ashaji is standing by to give us a sense of the first trading day of the week from equities to unlisted securities that took a nosedive, and of course add the debt market to that for us. Of course, the market started the week as you heard. We finished on 0.32% in negative territory. Investor sentiment negative. Dangote Cement fell slightly on the day. That's a bellwether in the market, the equities market. But of course, we saw a bit of a good reading from the rest of the market. Banking sector finished in the green, as well as the oil and gas. A few gains there prove that the market is trying to find its direction as we start. Of course, yesterday we told you the final week in the month is when you have investors and traders trying to adjust their portfolio to balance everything out and wrap up the month. Let's see what Temple Ashaju has in store for us. Give us a very quick review of the numbers. Take us through the numbers. Good morning, Temple, and it's nice to see you. What's the numbers? Well, give us the final details of yesterday's trading day.
Thank you, boss. It's really good to see you too. And like you know, it was the profit taking that we saw on Dangote Cement yesterday that brought the index lower, despite the levels of gains that we saw across the different sectors, talking about the banking, the consumer goods, and insurance, as well as the oil and gas sector. Quite a number of gains there across bellwether stocks. But for the profit taking that we saw on Dangote Cement, the market went down. Dangote Cement was down, and that way it brought down the industrial sector of the market as well, and that's why we were able to have the 32 basis points negative of the market. Diamond Bank was the top gainer, led 25 other stocks as against the 14 declines that we saw, led by First Aluminium and of course Ikeja Hotel and Universal Insurance. These three stocks had been down since midday yesterday, and they never recovered till the close of the market. All of these gains and losses that we saw yesterday impacted the sectors, as I said earlier, where total volume came in at 178.81 million, where the total value of just 2.02 billion naira. And you look at the numbers, they are reflective of the fact that we have less interest in these stocks in the market. We saw bargain hunting on the low prices yesterday. This level of sentiment is, however, expected to continue today because there is basically no major catalyst in the market, as in there's no one-off catalyst that will drive any of these stocks that we have on the count